As creative professionals, we're explorers. We're explorers of sound, us mixing engineers. We are always trying new things. We have lots of tools at our availability, and sometimes we end up adding more and more and more and more, and then realize sometimes less is actually more. And destroying the like button on videos like this helps keep me creating them. So, destroy the like button, hit subscribe, and let's get on with it. Minimalism is something I've recently started exploring in my life. It's something that I've read a little bit about, watched some videos about, and started to consider about how I can apply it into my work process, and especially that mixing. Because mixing is something we all know that sometimes you can overcook something and you actually end up going backwards rather than forwards when you're trying to, get a great sound. It's really hard. As I said, we're creative thinkers, we like to explore. But how can we think about mixing in a minimalistic way? How can we create systems and processes around our work that helps us create repeatable results, helps us, get to our destination, get to our final mix quicker? And also what I've found in exploring all of this is it's inbuilt a lot of flexibility for my mixes for when clients need revisions or we have to explore new things because of the simplicity and the way I have everything set up. So where does minimalism start for me in mixing? Well, where it starts for me is my room and my setup. Basically, I have a good set of speakers I know, a calibrated monitoring level I rarely change, and 2 comfortable listening positions, one from my chair and another from my couch. And this basically gives me very consistent listening results. I know the sound of my speakers, I know how things should sound at my dedicated listening and monitoring level. So it creates a repeatable sort of, recognition of what's going on in the sound I'm given for every new mix. And this sort of simplicity and not having 3-4 sets of speakers and not having, all these different tools and things available for my monitoring and switching and things like that allows me to just focus on one thing, the sound. The sound I know really well that I listen to every day, in and out, 5 days a week, 52 weeks of the year, for the past 6 years in this room. Now, in terms of actual mixing in the box, I'm working with Pro Tools 2020, and in that DAW, I'm not exploring anything new that people haven't spoken about, but I'm being more conscious about it, and that is grouping everything, having them in subfolders, which is something new to Pro Tools 2020 as of the latest update, and also making sure I have main mix buses that I can control my whole mix from. The second thing I'm really conscious of are the core elements in a mix. Now, this comes down to 2 elements in most contemporary pop electronic music, and that is the bass and the kick and vocals. So basically everything in the low end that moves people, that brings people into a song, into the rhythm, into the feel of it, and the vocals or top line, which everybody sings, memorizes, and ends up being an earworm for them. That's typically the 2 underpinning parts which I balance in a mix before I touch anything else. If the bass line is too strong, the vocals will always feel too weak, or the top line will feel too weak. If the top line and vocals are too loud and the bass is not strong enough, then you get no feel, you get no body, you get no oomph from the mix. So having those 2 perfectly balanced in a mix before I get started, just getting those 2 to work in harmony, is my minimalistic approach to setting up my mixes. If I know those 2 will work together for the whole track, I know pretty much everything else will really help fit in quite easily. Moving on from there, something I've always had an appreciation for ever since reading Bob Katz's mastering audio book 7 years ago is yin-yang EQ. Now, I've reappropriated that into just yin-yang balancing. Basically, it's the act of attenuating or boosting one element and how it relates to another element, attenuating and boosting that one. This is something I think about in mixing, because what I'm trying to do is, when I'm setting up a mix, is to take the path of least resistance. So by just considering where the register of each element in a mix is, and as I go to shape the mix, considering how, if I boost the hi-hat, will it make the low end feel, or if I bring up a pad that's got lots of low mids, how will make the upper mids feel, I can really build up a strong, solid mix that's musical and has a good sense of balance between the relationship of elements, rather than immediately stepping in to try and process things individually. Now, These three things, my room, the way I set up my mixes, the vocals and bass, and actually a fourth thing, the way I balance things with a yin-yang approach, really help give me repeatable results in my mixes. It's nothing that's process heavy, it's nothing you need extra tools for, it's all in mind and thought and application, and it's quite minimalistic. It's quite simple to start, apply, and repeat. So it's helped me improve my mixes. I hope it can help you improve yours. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And until next time, take care.